Hello and welcome to Artful Rogers Live. It is Super Bowl Sunday, and guess what I'm not doing? Oh, I'm not watching football. I decided to be a rebel tonight. Sort of anti, maybe un-American not to be watching the football game, but going to be working down here for a little bit in this live. It is Sunday, the 11th of February, 2024. If you're joining me here on TikTok, I'm Artful Roger. And if you found me on my archive channel on YouTube, Artful Roger, welcome. And please look back in my history to get an understanding of what we're doing here in this live session. We are building an upcycled clock case project. So we've been working on this. We've had one session now on this particular project we're on, and we're about to start working on the second part of it tonight. So we'll see how long we can stay live. We're going to give it our best shot. And so see who's joining. Joan, welcome. Spider 606, Vincent, I'm glad you guys are here. Gay and May, there you are. I'm glad you're there. Yes. Hey guys, I'm glad you're joining. Yvonne, you've even joined. Way out there, it's 4 p.m. for you out there in Redondo. Guys, thank you for joining this. I know it's kind of weird to be doing this perhaps on Super Bowl Sunday because most people are watching a football game. But we're going to be having a little bit of time of our own here together tonight. It's been an interesting day for me. It's rainy here in Atlanta. Spent the day at Scott Antique Market, which happens, I think, once a month here. It's a very big show. It goes on for 3 days. We were there for Sunday, of course, today, which is the last day when everything is marked down substantially. People are trying to pack up and leave. So just looking for some great stuff. I did find an Art Deco, nothing for this project, but something for the house, a lamp that is super beautiful. That is upstairs in the living room. I'll share that in a video at some point with TikTok. As far as finding things for this project, I found a couple of things. I found some brass here, this piece of brass. I have a couple of these that I bought, but I'll talk to you about these and what they didn't do. And as we talked about, as I build these things find me. These today somehow found me. So we've got this. So it's not going to work on this project. You're going to see in just a moment that it's not going to work, but I'm going to show you or tell you how it may work in a future project. Diane, I'm glad you joined. I saw your message. Yvonne, yes, it's awesome to see you guys, and I appreciate the notes. Ebby, it's the crew. So far, the crew's showing up once again. I'm seeing people I don't know, but I'm definitely seeing the core group. Yep, definitely seeing you. So guys, thanks for joining. If you're new to my live process here on TikTok, I'm Artful Roger with a D. Rodger. So if you're looking for me on YouTube, you can find me there. Please follow here on TikTok and also subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get notifications when I'm archiving new lives. So anyway, this is what we're doing. We are taking old clock cabinets that are typically empty, forgotten, antiques that are junk, if you will, and we're turning them into. This is the last one we did. This came from the last live session that we did. That ring light's messing that up. I'm going to show you in just a moment. This is what we've done here is create a little scene inside this case. It's been completely restored to my liking. Not restored to its original glory, but to my liking. You see it's got a window in the back, and we've got some 12-volt power going to it. We've got a little micro switch. I'm going to turn that on so we can see what it looks like inside. And again, this is the one we just finished. So you see there's a little room in there. Get my wires together. So we got a little fireplace going, little grandfather's clock, wall sconce, chandelier, ceiling, and a ceiling canopy there, and a Christmas tree. So these little pieces, a lot of them are vintage. The little figure you see is a German toy, antique toy, bisque. The little kitten is from the 1970s, I believe. It's porcelain. And there's a little dog, also porcelain, there at the fireplace. So these things find their way to me to eventually be inside of a clock case like this or under glass like these behind me. So that's what we're doing. That's what these lives are about. We are currently working on another clock case similar to this one, very similar in style. Those of you who were in the live before, You've seen the process. You've seen how far we got. I worked on it just a tiny bit before this live today, and we're going to take it just a few steps further. We're adding some details. So let me show you those components. I'm going to set this thing to the side. I'll be right back. And we'll likely be bringing that case back into the live so you guys can see it once again. So how are you guys doing? I'm glad Love My Convertible returned. Love those VWs. Thank you, Paul. You joined. This is awesome. So glad you're here. I'm glad you're loving it. Drew, welcome back. I'm loving this. Oh, Little B is even back as well. Lori, oh my gosh, Lori, I didn't even let you know that I was doing this, I don't think. So I didn't reach out to you. So I appreciate you being here. I was coming down the stairs out this door right here. And as I walked into this space to turn this phone on, I was like, holy crap, I didn't talk to Lori. So I'm so glad you're here. Chipperdoodle, Roger, where you been? I've been here since 6. Oh my goodness. I didn't tell you guys what time. Hey, Tim, welcome back. Tim is the idea man. So I'm glad you're here. I did not tell you guys a time. I wasn't sure how today was going to turn out. Some friends called last minute yesterday and wanted us to go with them to Scott, to the antique market. So we went to that. Then we went to another antique store, then went to another antique store. Part of it was me kind of wanting to look inside glass cabinets because I'm still looking for the Art Deco, Art Nouveau, 1920s flapper figure that's about 3 or so inches tall so we can put it in this creation we're making. Just so you guys know, Garrett, hello to you. I'm glad you're here. Again, El Melissa in South Carolina, I'm loving it. You guys are all here. And a few new people as well. But the project, as you already know, you guys part of the crew, as I'm calling you now, that's what you've officially been being called. You notice in the videos I'm starting to call you Hey Crew, because you guys are the core of this. Kathy, I'm gonna answer that question. I've been working as, I was a full-time, I'm gonna say this, and I'm not diminishing my talent, but artist. I did assemblage art for 8 years, I think, full-time, and sold on Etsy. I did a lot of commercial projects as well. I've sold about 3,500 pieces of assemblage art. A lot of it is turned into steampunk style type things, and these things that we're doing now, what we're doing in this live, I've been doing since 2009, building these Christmas scenes, and I'm thinking we have, you guys see how many people are in this live. We probably, with this, we have some new people, but I'm gonna bring one of these close in so you can see it, just so we can kick this live off. So this is what I've been building, and Kathy, it's all about you, so hopefully you stuck around to hear the answer. These I've been building since about 2009, so this is what's in here. These little things, they're under glass, they're little Christmas scenes, and this was it actually started as a holiday craft project that my sister and I would do. She lived down in Louisiana, I live in Atlanta, so I'd drive down there at Christmas and spend a few days with her, and during the course of Christmas we would cover up her kitchen island with all kinds of stuff, and we started building these little things, and we would do one a year, and we did that 2009, 10, 11, it went on, keeping them for ourselves. Over the years we do one, and I've given them away as gifts. This one I did this past year, I just did it, yeah. Steve Little B will not be making himself known tonight. I told you Steve is Vice President of Marketing for a home decor brand. I guess we'll leave that unnamed to protect his privacy, but that's what he does as a full-time job. But what he is also doing now is he is studying to become an antiques appraiser. So he is well into that already, so I think he's up studying a module and taking an examination so he can appraise antiques. So just something fun that he's gonna do on the side. Let me grab the power real quick. If anyone ever asks who's got the power, right here. So again, a lot of you guys have seen this. Yeah, Little B, put your tissues away, dry your eyes, wipe off your mascara. It's going to be fine because Steve is going to make an appearance. I've been trying to work on that, talk him into it, so we'll see, but he will get there. Mary Therese, there you are. I'm so glad you're here too. And here it is, guys, if you haven't seen it, this is the one I just finished for 2023. 23. I'm already so far into 24, I can't think about 23 anymore. So this is it. It's all illuminated, little pieces. So this is what I did. And so Kathy, if you're still there, this is what I was doing. Just recently, started working with these old clock cases. And the clock case I just showed you, found that in Charleston a year ago, sat in my mad scientist studio, which no one has seen yet. Sat there for a year, and I had this idea. Let's build a little room inside of it, and that's what I did. So we're doing another because everybody likes to watch. So Kathy, yes, I'm so glad you're still there. A lot of times people ask questions and I don't know if you stayed or not. So it's like, he didn't answer my question, I'm out of here. But I'm glad you stuck around, yeah. Yeah, this thing, Little B, I feel the same way about these. When I first started making these, and my sister, we would just put these on her coffee table. That was her Christmas room, where her Christmas tree was, in her house down in Louisiana. And we would just sit there and stare at this and talk about childhood Christmases and how we like blue Christmas lights and all the things that, you know, the little bits and pieces of stuff that we have from our Christmas memories as being kids. So these are pretty special. And I think that's what I love about building these. It really is childhood nostalgia. I've said it many times before. You've seen it on my TikTok channel. Christmas is about chasing a memory. We're all chasing some childhood nostalgic memory, I believe, sometime that we were with our grandparents or with our parents, and it was warm and wonderful, and we're eating all the candy we wanted, and grandma's pie she made that everybody loved. So there's a lot of really sweet memories, not for all of us, unfortunately, but for many of us, that are attached to Christmas, and these little things are just little reminders, and it's kind of a feast for our old fuddy-duddy selves to look back and remember what it was like when Christmas was magic. And this concludes your Hallmark Channel presentation. Thank you, Gay and May. Yes. Hello, TMSC53. Guys, I was out today. I'm out and about. You see I'm not wearing my glasses. I've got my contact lenses in, so I've got monovision. So one eye I can see way over there, and the other eye is like, I can see this. So I'm adjusting to looking at the screen, which is a large screen here. I'm adjusting to reading it. Absolutely. But we can be grateful that we have them, and hopefully people can make memories, you know, for themselves now. Yeah, because Christmas is certainly that time. My grandma's pound cake. So another thing I did this weekend, I know you guys want to hear my stories. A friend of mine turned 75, a very dear, wonderful man, turned 75, and so he had a little get-together at his house. He made a butterscotch pound cake. That is some ancient recipe that I think, because he's from New York, I think he said it's something that was handed down in their family from generations, so it's old. That was the absolute most amazing thing. It was so, so good. And not any frosting on it. You know, pound cake is in a bundt pan, so it's none of that. So it's not overwhelmingly sweet. It was just super delightful. Strawberry Girl, I got your note. Where are you? I've been on here since 6:30, or whatever you said. You were letting me know. Yeah, it was a fun little party, and it was delicious. Absolutely was. You haven't heard of a butterscotch pound cake? I'm sure the recipe's out there somewhere. Steve may have gotten the recipe. As you know, Steve is the one who cooks around here. I can make a cake if I wanted to make one. I just don't want to. I made a cheesecake on a live, which I didn't archive, but yeah, I did that. I might do that again, who knows? Vivi, you're back. Vivi, so good to see you. So Vivi, I think, has joined the crew. So I'm glad to see that. Yeah, there's names like Ebby, Vivi, Little B, Chipperdoodle, Yvonne, Diane, Gay and May, Tim the Doughboy, yes, Garrett. I'm just thinking of all the names that always are in my head that stick there. So, all right. Oh, and Ange, forgot you. Sorry about that. You guys are Fanes. My hair looks great. Yeah, the guy I was hanging out with today was my hairdresser, and he needs to see me tomorrow for this. He said that he thinks that I can still pull this off at my age. So I trust him. He's really good. I guess he's a master colorist is what he is. So he's telling me I still have the face that can sustain having my hair, having the gray kind of, whatever he does, highs and lows to make the gray kind of not show up. So I'm doing it. So I appreciate you guys saying that, because every time I sit down, I think he does it once a month, I sit in that chair and I'm having a conversation with him. I'm like, am I too old yet? Is my face not matching my hair? But I think I think it's still matching. Yeah, thank you, Yvonne. Guys, thank you. I appreciate that. And I will tell you this too. If you see me do something on one of these lives, or I'm wearing something, or there's something you need to tell me, you can certainly send me a note about it. Like the other night when I had my address, my home address, very visible on my live that I had to completely take down and erase. You got to let me know those things. And sometimes I'm not thinking about stuff, like I had a t-shirt on in one of my lives and I forgot, these are my raggedy shirts, and it had a hole under the arm. So I had to check today because it's a shirt I like, but if I lift my arm, there's nothing here. So I saw that in live. I'm like, oops, I didn't pay attention to that. So feel free to let me know. And those of you who email me and give me really, really awesome tips, and you know who you are, I really appreciate it. So thank you. Thank you, Strawberry Girl. Yes, and I am not fishing, although I was fishing a little. But that's the thing I would tell you. Getting my hair done is, it's unnerving and makes me nervous to do it because I don't want to look like, that I use shoe polish, but I don't think it does. He does highs and lows and foils and whatever, so it takes some time. Anyway, enough about my hair. That's what we're doing. Let's move on. Put the glass back on. All right. So, here's what I've done. Thank you, Chris. I'm glad you're here. Chris, there's room to join the crew. There's a crew here. They're my followers, my crew. I love these people. And so, Chris, join the crew. Follow me on TikTok. I do standard lives 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. And I also do pop-up lives on the weekend. This is a Super Bowl rebellion that I'm doing tonight. This is for all of us who are not watching the football game. So we can sit here and watch me talk about this. So here's the case. This is the top of it. There's the remember we painted these in the last live. I was working on these. So I put them in. So I think it's looking pretty good. You guys liking this? Way better than football. Yes, I would agree. Not watching Super Bowl, yes. It's funny because I was just upstairs grabbing some food before I came down here to do it, and I was telling Steve that I said this feels just like I'm going to work. I mean, it's not that it's work to me, it's just like I treat it like it's a real job. And he said to me, is there anything you don't treat seriously? And I had to think about that, and I'm like, I guess not. But that is how important this is to me, to be down here and showing up for you guys like I told you I would, and being present and doing these projects when I could be watching Young Sheldon or something like that on Netflix or whatever. Anywho, this is the top. I got the base. And if you're new to the live, you just joined in, this is what we're doing. We're going to be working on this case, putting this together. We are building a room. We're building a room inside this space right here, this square space. It's smaller than the other one we just looked at, but it's a little square room, and it's going to have a bezel and a glass door on the front. But right now, what we're doing is working on getting this thing put together. It's a lot easier to work with it right now when it's in pieces than waiting till we have stuff inside and we're working on the outside. It just becomes impossible because things break. This on top that I put on here, this is for the decoration that's going to go on here. I'm going to show you kind of what this is going to look like. I don't know, you guys can see that, yeah. And a perfectionist. To some, I guess if that's not a negative thing, I've gotten better. When I was younger, I didn't have a lot of patience. Patience is not my strong suit with myself or probably anything. But I've gotten better. All right, so this is the little thing I made out of pieces and parts for the top. What do you guys think of that? Hearts, you can send up hearts. You can, because I see the hearts immediately. So tap the screen like there ain't nobody gonna survive it. Yeah, you guys like it? Yeah, this is just, what this is part of a candle holder. This is where a candle would have gone in. So it looked like a little urn or something like that. I thought it looked pretty cool. You like it? Okay. So I am going to use that then. So good. I'm glad you guys like it. So I'm thinking it's going to work really well with the gold. I am going to blacken this just a little bit with the weathering kit that I have. So I'm going to blacken that out so it looks more old, and it actually will fade more. This gold will fade more into the black and not be so stark. Yes, you do. You absolutely have to be patient. That's something, and I'm answering here to Jack 5327. Patience, absolutely, because the thing about building these, it's a very serendipitous activity. You have to allow things to find you. You have to accept things as they happen. Like, for instance, today I was at this antique place that had a lot of pieces and parts, and I bought these two pieces. I love them, and I thought, oh, these are really cool. I can use these on a project. I think I know exactly where they're going to work. This is what I'm saying to myself while I'm in there. Of course, I barely got out of the car. I think I tripped and fell down the stairs on my way down here to see if they'd work. I wanted them right here. But look, they're too long and they're too big. It's just way ugly. It's too big. Yeah, it won't work on this project. Now, your first instinct would be to say, dang it, I wasted all that money on these. Why did I buy those and not do my measuring first? It doesn't work that way. These will go into the Mad Scientist Laboratory because I bet you down the line, there's going to be a project, and these are going to fit perfectly into that project. So they're not for this project, they're for a project that's coming. But we'll see how that works. That's how this entire process comes together, actually. It's Tim, exactly, as I just said. Yes, I just looked at comments. I think you probably said that while I was saying what I was saying. So here's another interesting thing that's happened. Since our last episode, there's been some developments that I think you're going to be interested in. This clock, or this particular clock, well, this clock is probably not that brand. I forget what brand it was or who made it, what company made it, but there is a company out there called Ansonia. And Ansonia made a lot of, I think, clocks that were made out of spelter or pot metal. And they're beautiful, they're very ornate. We talked about that in the last live. But somebody on eBay was selling Ansonia clock feet. Look at these. These came off of an Ansonia clock. Thankfully, someone had the wherewithal to save them, and they saved them in a set of 4. Look at that. Amazing. They're 4, they're beautiful, and I'm about to paint these into a beautiful gold, and they're going to be mounted right here. So we have our feet that found their way to this clock that had no feet. It actually wasn't even designed to have feet, but I'm going to put feet on it, because I think that's going to look pretty good. Yeah, these are awesome. I don't know. Let me see if I can get detail. Yeah, so it's a lion's paw. It looks like, maybe, although our lion's 3 toes. So I don't know what kind of toe that is. I don't know. What has 3 toes? Maybe they're ostrich feet. I have no idea. And it doesn't matter. Anyway, yes, indeed, Chipperdoodle, it's meant to be. That's exactly right. That's what I'm talking about. If you're watching this live and you think, gosh, I'd like to do that, please start doing it. Somebody, I think I can name names. I think Tim told me he was out looking for a clock case of his own. So I think it was you, Tim. Go do it. Be patient. Know that you're going to find things. Like today I went out thinking I'm going to find my 1920s flapper figure for this particular clock cabinet. I thought I'm going to find it today. I didn't find it. I found these things instead. But down the line, I'm going to see the magic in this. I just don't see it right now, but I'm having faith that they're for something else. It'll happen all in time. So that's how it works. And it was you, Tim. Did you find a clock case? I'll talk about that in a minute, William. Absolutely. Thanks for asking. So you've been looking for your own clock case, Little B. You haven't found one yet. Be patient. You say it could take years, but it doesn't, because the right one will find you for sure. A TikToker using big words. Yeah, I have to be very careful what words I do use on here, as you guys all know, because I did get a 1-week suspension. So a lot of things I'm using code for these days because I'm fearful that they'll send me the big red X again. So yes, and so how am I attaching these? Someone asked. I've already done the drilling, so I've already drilled the holes here. I've already fit these on. They fit here, and you see where a screw goes in. So the hole is already drilled. The screws are, I think I set the screws aside. That's not them. I think they're there. So these are my screws that I already found. So I did all this yesterday before the live, knowing I was going to be on here. I don't want to be digging in bins of screws trying to find stuff. Because I did upcycled artwork for so many years, my collection, which I had to half it when I moved into this house, half of it I had to get rid of. But the other half is over here in the Mad Scientist Laboratory, which I am going to share. I promise you're going to get to see it. But I have a lot of screws and parts and all kinds of stuff. And I try to reuse things that are broken or discarded instead of going out and buying new screws or things like that from a hardware store. I could make my own flapper, but I'm afraid she would be like half-baked, and I don't mean that in that way. See, again, that's one of those TikTok things I probably get in trouble for saying. I'm baking cookies, TikTok, that's what I mean. But it would not look well. It wouldn't look very good. It would, I think it would look homespun. As a Gina Davis lookalike once told me at a farmer's market, as you know, in Southern California. She told me my stuff looked homespun. I can't get over my hair. Thank you, Fanes. I appreciate that. Yeah, and it's got some heavy-duty lights on it. But yeah, this is highs and lows. This is my hairdresser's work. Yeah, he's good. He's really good. He actually pulls my natural hair out. You guys know how this works. I've seen him do it. Pulls out the grays and whatever. Then he lays down some hair and puts the color on that. But he leaves some of my gray and stuff there too. So there's like half and half. So it looks pretty natural. It's not just for men. Just for men, you know, it turns it all one color, and it just doesn't look right. To me, it looks right. To someone else, more power to you. But to me, that's all I'm saying. All right, let's paint. Blam, blam, blam. But you know what? If I'm not blabbing about all this kind of stuff, what are we going to talk about, right? There is one. So there's a vintage clock case on there. Is it, so it's like walnut or something like that. It's wood tone. It's not painted black. And wood tone cabinets work. I have a wood tone cabinet that I have another project in, which I showed in another live. I don't have it down here with me tonight. So yeah, there you go. So hurry on over to eBay. Take a look. You can search it. You are going to tell us a story. I'm going to think of one. You know, I was out, like I told you, with friends today, and I was thinking about what story can I tell tonight? And I was thinking about childhood stories. I told you some of my college stories. I told you guys that about my dancing. I could tell that. That's an interesting story. I can talk to you about how I became a folk dancer and ended up doing it in college. So it's an interesting story. Maybe I have told the whole story. I won't tell the whole story. I told some of it. So story time has begun. It wasn't professional. It was college. So, and I'll tell you some more about that too, because I did dance after college as well. So when I was about 14, back in the days when indoor shopping malls were all the rage, and everybody went to an indoor shopping mall for fun, my parents took me to a mall in Columbia, South Carolina, which was one of the first malls, I think, probably built in that city. It was called Dutch Square. That was the name of it. And that day, it was on a Saturday or something like that. It was a weekend because it was the middle of the day. They had the Palmetto State, which is South Carolina. It's called the Palmetto State. They had the Palmetto State Cloggers were in center court of the mall. And those of you who are younger may not know what center court is, but every mall had a center court area where they would set up a stage and there would be local performances and, different things happened on center stage. Fashion shows, young girls got to do modeling, young men got to do modeling of clothing for the store. So center court was pretty fun. So the Palmetto State Cloggers were there doing precision, what you would call square dance formations, but they were all in costume and they were dancing in formation dancing, like what you'd see with square dancing. I, as a 14-year-old, was mesmerized. I looked at those guys dancing. I wanted to wear the white shoes. I wanted to wear the pants. I wanted to wear the gingham shirt with the tie thing on your neck, with the scarf on my neck, and I just wanted to do that. And there was no opportunity that came up. But it stayed in my mind. So, as you know, I joined the Mormon church when I was 17. So about 3 years later, I was now Mormon. Then I went on a Mormon mission, and I went and rode a bicycle with a tie on and rang doorbells, and slightly annoying, I'm sure, annoying people. When I tell you that if you knock on 100 doors, maybe 2 will open, and no one lets you in. That's just how it is. It's just busy work you have to do, but I did it nonetheless. It was a growth experience. painted, one coat. So when I returned from my mission, I was about 21 or so, and I was kind of I wasn't languishing, but I was at home in some downtime in South Carolina between deciding where I was going to go to college to finish up school. And my mom gave me a clipping out of the newspaper, which she did. And the newspaper is a thing people used to get every day at their house in a box. It was a metal box out by your mailbox, and they put a newspaper in there, and that's how you got news. This thing didn't exist. That's for the young people. But my mom saw that a guy was teaching clogging, and there was a local group. So I went, and I had 3 left feet. It was so hard to learn how to do that. But I kept going. I kept at it. I had my white shoes. I was 21. I learned to do basic steps. My first clog dance was to the song Eastbound and Down, Loaded Up and Truckin'. If you know that song, my face is probably going to turn really red and purple. But that was the song I learned to clog to, and I can still do that dance. I could actually do Eastbound and Down. Turn on the music, and I'll do the clog dance right here. But here's why things happen in a certain order. And this is why I believe in serendipity. I saw the cloggers at 14. I come home, I had this downtime where I could actually enroll in this class and take it. And we actually literally danced in an old barn with a wood floor. I'm not joking. The building is still there. It's all covered with vines and stuff. And I've driven by there. I took one of my daughters there. She was visiting. And we pulled up in front of it. And you could kind of see, I could still see some of the mirrors on the wall through all the vines. It was just really cool. It's just an old building now. But anyway, when I got to school, I ended up going to school in Idaho. I ended up going to what is now Brigham Young University, Idaho. It was called Rick's College at the time. It's a Mormon college, and like regular college, not like a Bible school or something like that. We went to school to learn, biology, nursing, whatever you were going into. So when I got there, I auditioned for the folk dance team, because here's what happened. I went to orientation at the auditorium. During all the stuff they're showing us about the school, the dance team shows up. All these college-age kids come out on stage for this clog dance number in Idaho in full-on costume, precision clogging. And I was blown away. I was like, oh, it was so cool. I just loved it. It brought back all the memories of being a 14-year-old and wanting to do that again. And then there were auditions. They opened for that. And I was terrified. I was 2 left feet and ugly shoes. That's what I like to say. Aaron Brockovich said that. All you got is 2 left feet and ugly shoes. That's kind of what I had, but I went and auditioned anyway. I was the last person chosen. It came down to 3 men at the end, and I was the final one of the 3 remaining that they could not make their mind up on. I was chosen as that one. The other 2 had to go home, but I made the team as the last one chosen that year, first year. And I jumped right in and started doing it. And the more I danced, it was precision, full costume changes between every dance. I really got really good at it, fully done. And did it for 2 semesters, and then went back to school the second year. And I did not have to audition for that. I auditioned and made the American folk dance team, and I was the president of the team the second year. That's how much work I put into it. So the second year, I was president of the group, and we basically spent, I think, 6 months to a year practicing all these dances, because we went to Europe in the summer of '87 and danced in world folk festivals in France. So we spent I think a month or 2 in France and danced in festivals every single night, parades all day, and then dancing into the wee hours of the morning, 3 a.m., because the French, they're not awake in the summer in some of those coastal cities until it's 11 o'clock at night when you start seeing people come out and they're eating dinner, at 1 a.m. So it was very different, but so much fun. So I did do that, danced around Europe, and came back home, went to BYU, Provo, blah, 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 blah. Then I ended up in Charlotte at some point. And so in my 30s, I found a dance director in Charlotte, and got on a team. He was a purist, an Appalachian purist. And I learned how to dance. My stuff was commercial, costume, blingy, rhinestones and fringe and all cowboy hats. That's what we were doing. But he was a purist, and it was like period vest costumes, shirts like pirate shirts. It was just, I think our shoes were black. I don't think we could even wear white shoes. But we did. It was a very small group. He was awesome. I loved what we did during that time, and I did that for a couple of years with them, and then finally, just kind of stopped doing it. So that, my friends, was your first story. How many people stick around? Good. Nobody ran away. I'm surprised I'm not seeing the emoji that has the Z's by it. Yeah, the dancing was super fun. It really was. It was a blast. But it's a lot of work, But when I came back from Europe, I was, I think, the fittest I've ever been in my entire life because the amount of work and dancing. I remember one night, we stayed sometimes in dormitories, the school dormitories, because school was out, it was in the summer. And I remember being somewhere in the south of France. It was so hot. And the room did not have glass, and it did not have screens. All it had was a gigantic wooden door that closed over the opening of the room. It was in a high-rise. Like maybe I'd say high rise, like 4 stories or something. But you just opened the big wood door out, and it was just the whole wall was wide open to the outside. There was a ledge, or, you couldn't walk right out, but it was just open like a window with nothing on it. And I remember opening that, and I woke up at some point, I don't know, hours later, I suppose. I was still in full costume. And I was laying back on the bed. My feet were on the floor. It's like I had sat down and I just went back like that. And that's how tired I was. I don't even think I was not even aware. I wasn't even conscious. I just was, still in my costume and had to, bathe and all that kind of stuff over the night. So it was exhausting, but, super fit during that time for sure. So couldn't bear to throw my clogging. I have my clogging shoes upstairs, actually. They are flattened and probably dry rotted by now, but they're still there. And they would be the ones that I wore like 30 years ago. It's hard to believe I can even say that there's 30 years past, when that's behind me, but it's true. Yeah, pictures, I'll have to try to dig some of them out from somewhere. I'm wiping the paint off. So coat number 1 is on the feet. So there we go. And we've kind of mixed it. I'm not doing much to the bottom because it's not going to be visible, but I'll put another coat on these shortly. You have your point shoes and tap shoes. Yeah, that's really cool. There's stuff like that you just can't part with. I had the costume that I wore in Charlotte for a long time, and I was going to try to wear the shirt again this past Halloween because it was a really good, somebody made the shirt. They were all handmade. But I think I donated it or something to Goodwill, perhaps, somewhere down the line. I'm not sure. This paint, Henry, this is also an acrylic paint. I need to get my trusty Vidal Sassoon hairdryer over here to dry these feet is what I need to do. But it requires that you guys have to listen to a blow dryer run for just a bit, because then I could go ahead and put the second coat on. Yeah, because that's kind of the plan tonight, was to do that and then start assembling that clock back together, starting putting it back together. The Sassoon, exactly. And here's old Vidal. Here's my trusty Vidal Sassoon. And it does work. So let me dry these real quick. Crew's been tapping. Yes, if you do craft projects, go to Goodwill and get yourself a hairdryer like this. I found this beauty in 2011 probably, or 12, so I've had it a long, long time. It's beautiful and brown. I don't even think they make brown hair dryers anymore. So far, so good. Vidal has held up. You bought a clock at the thrift store. It's 3-stack wood boxes. So good. Anita, awesome. So hopefully that works out, that you can get inside of it. So Lori, we'll have to talk about what unpinned a comment means. I'm guessing that means that somebody said something inappropriate and you give them the old bye-bye or something. So I appreciate that. I learned my lesson about not having a moderator, by the way. I did not have one. So those of you joining my live and want to say something inappropriate or something that could be hurtful, this is not what we do here. I think that my wonderful multiple moderators will go blap and you're gone. Is it not? It's not hard to take clock guts out, Tim. It's not at all. Santa's toy. I'm thinking that's what you're going to do with yours, Anita. That's awesome. Yeah, and you can make your little gifts, you know, with the wood and the washi tape. You can do that. Am I making globes? Are you crash test Beck? Are you asking me if I'm making globes in this live? Is that what I'm doing? You're talking probably because you're seeing these in the back. No, we're not doing that tonight. We're actually converting a clock cabinet into a. We're putting a little room inside of a clock cabinet. Like this is half of it. This is just the top. So, yes, I don't know, Anita. Only you will know. And the thing that I'll tell you about any of this stuff, that you can take it apart. If you don't like where it's going, don't be afraid to disassemble it. This one was a tear down and a rebuild. I built it and then tore it down because I did not like it. I built it in 22. I tore it down in 23 directly, all the way down to the foundation. The shrubbery, if you will, the green trees you see, they were there, they remained. I just built a new wall right beside them where they were. So don't be afraid to redo it. Tim, you asked about getting clock guts out. Let me address that real quick. If you guys can hold for 1 second, I'm going to allow you to look at these beautiful domes, cloches, while I run and get some guts. So I'll be right back. Clock guts, not guts. Clock guts. I come back with a handful of that. Not going to happen. So when I do my steampunk stuff, I use clock guts for those projects. I take these wheels apart, these gears and things. But Tim, if you're looking, you see these tabs right here, this, and this. These are where the screws are that hold the clock in place. And you can see there's the hands. And here's where a pendulum would hang. I find these at antique malls too, in antique places, because they've been removed from some case somewhere and, oh, that's cool. Here we go. That's the old bell. But yeah, I buy these because they work really well in some creations. This one I really loved. This one's still on its base. And this came out of it looks like a rather large clock. And I've already disengaged the gears, I think, in this. Yeah, so it'll do this. You can see it turns. Because what I'm going to do with this one is connect an electric motor to it so that in my creation, let's see if I can make this happen. Yeah, there it is. So when I put an electric motor on it, it's going to turn like that and be really cool. I think it would be fun to just watch clock gears turn really fast instead of, so slow. Oh, there he goes. Look. So it kind of works here. What I've got, though, I think they all work together. There it is. See that? I'm just going to tear my fingers apart. Nerds and Bones. Nerds and Bones, I didn't see you joined. Martha, welcome. I didn't see you either. Probably when I was telling that long butt story about my time in my dance shoes. But anyway, isn't that awesome? Yeah, this is really cool. This, unfortunately, was not very inexpensive. I bought it in a high-end antique store. But it's got beautiful color. It's really big, and I love this old wood down here, so I'm leaving it like that. I'm just still trying to figure out how to get my electric motor attached without it being visible. It may be a belt or a chain that's in the front, and the motor will be underneath something where you can't see it. So that's the plan. Christine Gibbs, welcome. Glad you're here. Guys, thank you for saying hello when you are joining these things. Vivi, have you ever thought of making a miniature of your grandparents' house? Many times. Many times. I have not done it, but it would be an easy house. Vivi, I'm guessing you saw the video I posted of my grandparents' house. Thank you for that, by the way, whoever put that heart on my head. Those are super sweet. Did you see the video, Vivi, that I posted of my grandparents' house? Tim, I think you commented on it, so you may have seen it. You did see it. Okay, so yes, that house, if you notice, is a typical Southern mill house. It was in mill villages throughout the South, and that would be a really easy house to replicate, and it would be super sweet to do that. And I may think about doing that. I have a square glass box that's smaller that I may try to build some replica of it. That's a great idea. You guys are full of awesome ideas. Henry, you saw it too? Yep. So you guys have seen it. That's awesome. Yeah, that house, I think that house was already probably 50 years old when my grandparents moved into it in 1934. I think they moved in when they were just newlyweds. 4 years later, my mother was born in a corner. Of course, I'm sure my grandmother was in a bed or something like that, but she was born in the corner of what was their living room. And then about 3 years later, my uncle was born in the other corner. That was the story they told. So both my uncle and my mom were born in that house. And they lived there from 1934 until 1993. So they were there well into it when I came along in 64. A place we visited. You saw how grown up it is, and it was a derelict house by 2018. You know, it was just, that whole neighborhood was just, many of the houses burned down. It was just really unfortunate. I'd been in Charlotte for business, and I drove down to Charlotte. This is way before I even knew TikTok was a thing, way before I was filming videos with any purpose. And I just recorded it because the teardown notice, if you look at that video, there's a yellow placard. You can kind of see it through the trees. And that was the teardown notice from the condemned notice from the county that it had to be removed. The driveway that you see, my grandparents put that in. It's a blacktop driveway. Back when I was a kid, that was super clean. They kept that. That was all landscaped. The driveway was lined with shrubbery that was trimmed. There was a beautiful split rail fence. And my grandma was a gardener, and it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. Super magical place to be as a kid. Full of butterflies and lizards and all kinds of fun stuff. And my grandma really took good care of it. It's hard to go back and see something like that and see that it could turn into what you see in that video. And that was right at its very end. I went back, I think I was there in the fall of 21, and it's scraped. It's not dirt, it's just scraped to grasses. But what is so interesting is being there and seeing wildflowers growing on it. In spite of everything else, in spite of what happened, my grandma, it feels like the spirit of my grandmother is still there, in the sense that there's wildflowers growing, and blooming. And I saw a rambling rose in the ditch that was there as well. So those things make me think that, like I've said in other videos, I don't know what happens after we pass on. I have no idea. I'm not going to try. I've been down so many paths of religion and ideas and thought, ways of thinking about this. And at this point, I think the only thing I can really say with surety is I don't know. And I'm okay with that. I'm totally comfortable. And I am okay with those of you who think you know. And, that's okay that you have that faith. That's good. I'm happy for you. And I want you to have that. I don't want you to proselytize me. And so that's not what this life's about. I just want to say that I'm okay with not knowing, but I don't want to believe that my grandma walks the grounds of that where her house once stood, and that's what she's doing for eternity. I don't think so. I don't want to be a ghost walking through walls, or something like that, scaring people and opening up their kitchen cabinets and dumping their silverware on the floor and going, ha, ha, ha. I don't want to do that. So I don't think, the flowers are there, and I think they're there for me and whoever might remember my grandma that way. Wow. Didn't I just go down a rabbit hole? Yeah, that video is from 2018. Yes, Henry, it is. Yeah. The little bee, that's perhaps true. Yeah. My grandma said, ringing doorbells, Melissa in South Carolina she took notes. She's taken notes on these lives. Yeah. My grandma always said, don't bring me flowers when I'm dead. I shouldn't have said that word. See, there's a banned word on TikTok. Don't bring me flowers when I'm unalived. Bring them to me while I'm alive. And that's exactly how she lived. And she did not want one of those pop-up vases on her stone, on her memorial. So I have a video I thought of posting where I videoed hers, my great grandmother's, and my grandfather's little bronze plaques that are there in the soil, but none of them have flowers. No one brings flowers there because they all wanted them when they were living, and that's exactly how they lived, and we were honored that, and I think of that when I go there with her, that's how she was. Yes, Chipperdoodle. Are you talking of your grandmother? Because I know my grandma was pretty amazing. This was my mother's mother, not that my father's mother wasn't. It's just that my mother's mom was very creative. I told the story. Thank you, Chipper. Chipper, you're very kind. And not that I'm not saying that if you said your grandma was great, I'm so happy. When I was a kid, I was about 12. My mom, somehow I talked her into letting me stay with that grandmother for a week. And my grandma was an adult. That grandmother was creative, and she was not a kid's grandma. She was not, she treated you like an adult, if you know what I'm saying. She wasn't like a grandma that was like, she made you cookies and, she was super sweet. And, those grandmas exist and they're awesome, but she wasn't that grandma. The company of adults is what she usually kept. So she was like that. So when I asked to go stay with her at age 12, I'm sure that she was a little nervous about it, but she agreed to it. And of course, being 12, I'm there. I don't have my stuff with me. I don't have my toys. Whatever friends I had, I didn't have. And I remember saying, I'm bored. And I started doing what 12-year-olds do. I'm bored. You know how that gets. If you're a parent and have little kids, or you've had little kids, you know that that's one of the most annoying things that a child can do, is tell you that they're bored. And I started doing that, and my grandma got annoyed. And I remember I knew she was mad. And so I got quiet, and I kept my mouth shut. But I could hear my grandma she had a closet in one of her bedrooms. It used to be, you'd go out onto a porch, but they had changed it into a closet. It was very big. And that closet was filled with magical stuff. All the stuff, her artsy stuff was in there, and creative things and old buttons and stuff. And she was rummaging around in there for a while. She came out with an old cigar box. It had buttons in it, spools, all these pieces of this and that, paper pieces and some scissors and some glue. And she said, make your own toys. And she just gave me that cigar box. My mom had never done that. My parents, I had toys, from the store. We went to Kmart, and I got to go down to the toy aisle. And Santa Claus brought me toys, but no one ever told me to make my own toys. And so I did. I sat down there with glue, and it was the most exciting thing I think I'd ever done. I made a car out of an old box that I made the buttons were wheels. I glued them on and waited for them to dry. There were some old popsicle sticks. There was if you remember Atlantic and Pacific A&P, there was I remember this so well because there was an A&P, some sort of thing she got from the store. And I was able to cut it out and glue it onto a popsicle stick. So I had made my own little A&P grocery store, and I created my own toys. I absolutely did. And that kept me occupied for the rest of the time that I was at her house. And I kept those little things for a long time until they disintegrated, of course, and got thrown out because they were certainly ephemeral because of what they were. They were destined for the trash heap from the start. But it was one of those things that started me out and always looking at things like that I could make something if I didn't need to buy something. I could make it for myself. And I took that to college. I remember starting out at BYU Provo, Brigham Young University in Provo, which is in Utah, and I started in January, which was a mistake. I left South Carolina on a plane and flew to Salt Lake City in January. South Carolina in January is nothing like Utah in January. And so I landed into, ankle deep snow or probably knee deep snow, who knows what, blizzard conditions. And I had an apartment that I shared with two other men, and we all had our own room. So I had this room, I was by myself. I'd be in there studying. I had nothing but a bed, a blanket, and whatever. It was just because I was a college kid. I didn't have a lot of stuff, and my parents were way back in South Carolina. But I remember really wanting to grow things, and I love gardening. I've always loved it. It came from that grandmother I just told you about. And I took carrot tops. I bought carrots. I eat carrots. Don't you eat carrots? And I cut those tops off, those carrots, and I remember putting them in a little cap and some water and put them in the window, and those carrot tops would grow. They were beautiful green carrot tops growing in my window. That's the only gardening I could do. And again, it harkens back to my grandmother telling me, make your own toys. I made my own little garden out of what I could afford, which I could have thrown those carrot tops in the trash, but I didn't. I knew that they would grow out if I just put them in water, and they did. They formed roots and grew beautiful green tops in the window. So I kind of carried that with me, and I think that's where this, my business, my lighting business I started back in the day, Ben Cliff Designs. You guys we've talked about this before, but Ben Cliff, you can Google Ben Cliff Designs. I think there's still images out on there. You can pull up some of it. A few of them still remain, but all of that went into my art and what I'm doing right now. I mean, here I am doing this on TikTok. We're watching paint dry. Yep. So yeah. My other grandmother, user 462, my dad's mother, was not so creative. She was a that grandmother cooked. She was a Southern cook, so she stayed at home. Not that most women didn't stay home back then, in the 50s and 40s, 50s, 60s, but cooking was her thing. But she wasn't creative. Her house was so clean, you could probably eat off the floors because she cleaned it every single day. I'm not joking. Top to bottom, every room. Clean top to bottom every single day. When I stayed there, I would go there and stay sometimes for a week or two in the summer, and she would clean that house. This is before, I had things to do during the summer when I was still a young kid, but she would do it every day. She sent us outside, and she cleaned. And that's how it was. But she wasn't creative. She was super loving. She was a grandmother that sent a birthday card every year, and we got to go stay with her. She was fun. She taught us how to tie a string on a June bug's leg and turn it into a little, it's like it would fly around like a little airplane on a piece of thread. I don't know if anybody else ever did that. I grew up in the South. A June bug. Thank you, JC. The June bug is also known as a dung beetle, and a word I probably can say here on you chipperdoodle, you did that? You tied a string onto a dung beetle? You're kidding me. Someone else did that. Let me tell you this. As a kid, in the summer in the South in the mid-70s, yes, we did, Vivi. We absolutely did. Those are fireflies. We called them lightning bugs. I'm sure back then, because I had my southern accent, it was lightning bugs. We went out and caught us some lightning bugs. My grandma gave us a canning jar, and we would put those things in it, fill it up. And there were so many of them. June bugs on strings, exactly. Finding June bugs and putting the string on it, finally able to keep wiggling its leg, and you tie the loop in it, and then you finally get the string over it, and you pull it, and you tie it, and then, it's flying around a little bit, then its leg comes off. Oops. So you have your string with a leg on it, I'm sure, I don't know if they regrew their legs or what they did, but the June bug carried on. It's like, I didn't need that leg, thanks. Vivi, you're from the South. Do you care to share what state you're from? Cruel but fun. Okay, little V. Alabama, June bugs on a string, yep. They do grow back, okay. But they must, because it didn't seem to bother them. They were just glad to get away from us. But they were sometimes hard to find. But I remember there was a time of year when June bugs were out, and it must have been June. But I just remember that happening. You live in South Carolina. So love my convertible. I thought you were in Florida. Why do I think that? I don't know where that came from. But yeah, okay. Alabama for Tim. Yes, the lightning bugs were so fun. Yeah, we still have them here. You were raised in the shadow of Stone Mountain. Yes. I live in the shadow of Stone Mountain. You're in Florence, okay. Yes. And I graduated high school in Greenwood, so I'm more from that side. I consider that part home. But my heart is in the Sandhills. My heart is absolutely 100% in that white sand of Richland County, Kershaw County, and Lee County, all of that, Colleton, that whole area in there. I just absolutely adore it. I think that my ashes will one day be scattered in the sand of that part of the state. I have no idea why I have such an affinity for it. Yes, that's awesome. That's fun. To do, Little B, what you're saying is catching frogs and naming them. That is super fun. Exactly. You're from Spartanburg. Awesome. Yeah, we did that too. I mean, it's not what I would do now. If you look at my TikTok history, you'll see last summer. Please go back and look at my video history from the summer. Because if you look back, you can kind of figure out where the summer is because you'll see all this Christmas stuff. But look at the one, there is a firefly. I was out on the deck. This must have been June. And the firefly flew up onto the deck. I had the string lights on or something, but the firefly flew up on the deck. And it just was right in front of me. And it just kept staying there. And it had its wings going. And it was just flashing its little flasher. You know where that's located on its abdomen. And I got the phone out, and if you watch that thing. It allowed me to video it. It was showing off for the camera. So it's on there. A lot of people watched the video and commented they hadn't seen a firefly in years, and it was so special. For me, it was shocking to see that firefly perform, because I told it as it flew away. I said, "You're going to be on TikTok. You're going to be TikTok famous," as it went off into the night, not caring one bit about it. But watch that video if you want to see a firefly in action, because it really shows you its wings and how the light works on it. Super cool. The phosphorus, whatever that chemical reaction is that they do. So yeah, it's super fun, and great memories, and they are here, as I just said, that we have them here in our yard. Thank you, Lori. So you don't have fireflies anymore in Western New York. So I'm guessing things changed somehow. There's not nearly as many fireflies as there used to be when I was a kid. I mean, right at dusk at my grandparents' house, that place was illuminated practically by the flashing lights in the trees. It was so beautiful. Yes, exactly. So that's what that firefly was doing. It must have looked at me and said, "Hey, I think that you might be a firefly, and I'm about to show you some stuff here." And so, yeah, that firefly was working it that night. Sorry, I wasn't buying anything. I just took a picture. You have a lot of them in Maryland, yeah. Yes, whippoorwills is another thing that happened when we lived near Columbia, South Carolina. That was something at night that was super. That is such a sound. It is so great. So great. I love that. Yeah, that's what the firefly was saying, probably. Yeah. I love that too. And as a kid, I put the fireflies in a jar, and I wouldn't do that now. I just would only let it be wherever it wanted to be. It's like the one that flew up to me. I wasn't trying to catch it because they're easy to catch. They kind of hover. But I did let him go on. Yeah, it's really super magical. Yeah, and I wonder if kids do that. In the neighborhoods where we've lived over the years, kids don't play outside. I mean, if they're outside, they're in activities, or they're playing basketball, which people did back then. But I haven't seen a kid running around catching fireflies, and I don't know when. My kids who live in Oregon, they're adults, but when they visited, that's one of the things they love, to come here in the summer and see the fireflies, because it's just it's such a thing. If you haven't seen it before, or it's not in the place you live, it's pretty awesome to see. It's a spectacle at night. You have a lot in South Louisiana, yeah. So, Strawberry Girl, did we talk about where you were in South Louisiana? Are you in Lafayette or somewhere like that? Yeah, we all did that, Fanes. Still in Long Island. No, I wouldn't want my kids to do an hour north of I don't know, New Orleans, I'm guessing. Okay. Hello from Utah. I was just talking about Utah. You must have gotten the vibes. An hour north of New Orleans. Okay, yeah. My sister lived, don't judge. My sister lived in Lake Charles. Her husband is an optometrist. He was with an eye group in Lake Charles. That's how they got there. Lake Charles, guys, if you've never been there, it's not a very pretty place. And if you're I think once you get to Lafayette and you go any further west, it just isn't pretty until you get somewhere to San Antonio. Just to me, and I know, don't come at me. That's just my opinion. Hey, Rob. You're user 462. Yeah, dragonflies, the symbol of new beginnings, I think. I think that's what they're symbolic of. I remember once starting a new job, and as I drove in bumper to bumper traffic to my new job, a dragonfly stayed on the hood of my car, flew off, would land back on all the way to this new job. All along in the stop and go traffic, the dragonfly stayed with me, and it was when I looked up symbolism that I knew it meant new beginnings. I want to say something about that too, about magical things that happen. They're around us all the time. We just don't notice it. For all of us, they're there constantly. We just don't take notice. That's all it is. We make plans. We look at our phones. We have a calendar to keep. We're rushing from here to there. We're on a treadmill. We're working out. We're having dinner with friends and all this stuff. That's just stuff that I do. And you have to just be aware. You have to say, let me look. Let me pay attention to what's going on around me, because magical things happen all the time. You agree with me, Vivi? Yes. And poor Lake Charles, they got whooped by hurricanes. She was still living down there when I forget that last one that hit in 2020. And we went down there at Christmas. It happened in September because they were here with us for like several weeks because their house was nearly destroyed. And we went down there for Christmas because they were able to get it back together. And it was so sad to see how terrible everything was. Things were still flattened. Like the Hobby Lobby was, and there was a giant AutoZone. I remember they just flattened buildings, and they had not even gotten to clean them up yet. It was just been months, several months, and they were still there. It was so bad. But that's what happens as soon as it gets pretty, a hurricane gets it. Yeah, until your brother died, you started noticing things. Yeah. Chipper, I believe that. I've shared stuff on here about my own experiences with people who passed on in my life and things that happened. Yeah, I've never been to New Orleans. Every time I'm gonna go, friends tell me don't go. They're like, you're not gonna like it, and the only thing there to do is Bourbon Street, and once you get past that, if it's really raucous, it's gonna be nasty. You're not gonna like it. So I just have never gone, and likely may never. Yeah, I'm putting another coat on the feet so you can see what I'm doing. Get this gold paint off my hands. Posted a picture and a video. So Chipper, you want me to look at your page? Okay. We are upcycling. I'm referring to user 5552. We are upcycling a vintage clock cabinet. Let's see what we got here. 84 people. A lot of these 84 people that are in here now are probably part of my crew. That's what I'm calling you guys now, the crew. You know who you are. But let me show you. I think I have a few people. Maybe let me just query the group here. We got 91 people involved here. Just tell me with a new, just put the word new in your comments if you're new and you don't know what we're doing. If you're on here and you don't know what we're doing, you want to know, just put the word new in the comments, and then I'll know how many people are out there. Just type in NEW. Mary Therese, you're part of the crew. Thank you, Ruth. So Ruth is new. We're going to tell Ruth. We've got PM Walker. Okay. Crew. Lori, you're part of crew. Quebec, however you pronounce that. I've heard it both ways. Are you new here? You must be. You've joined me before. So Pat, we know your crew. I said new. NEW. Crew. We're looking for new people that don't know us. Okay. So if you're new to my live and you don't know what we're doing, type in the word NEW. I've seen like 3 people, so everyone else's crew. Artful Roger crew. I know your crew. Okay. Good to know. So we've only got a couple of people who don't know what we're doing. Yeah, we've only got a couple of people. So Debbie, you just got here. Look, if it's one person that's new, let me indulge this person for 1 second. We are upcycling a clock cabinet is what we're doing. We're turning an old clock case. I call them cabinets. I know they're cases. I've heard that too. A clock case. Crew, bear with me. Be patient. We've been at this for a little bit, about an hour. Let me show Debbie. Debbie, this is all about you. I'm going to show you the one we just finished from the last series of live. So hang on. Let me grab it. I know my crew is very patient. So this, Debbie, thank you for saying welcome to Debbie. Debbie, let me remind you, you can follow me here on TikTok. And I do lives 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursday nights at 7 Eastern. So you can join that. I do pop-up lives like tonight. This is my Rebellious. It's the middle of the Super Bowl, and I'm going to do a live tonight, live. And you can follow me also, or subscribe to me on YouTube, Artful Roger with a D, Rodger, and you can watch the archive lives there. But this is the cabinet. This is a clock case that we converted in the last series of lives, okay? So we turned this old case that had no clock in it. Oh, look at this. We've got a survey. I love my moderators. Okay, look, I'm gonna light it up. Whoops, it was already lit. Debbie, I can't see comments, so I'm hoping you're still there. And there's the inside. It's a little room in there. So Debbie, this is what we're doing. This is what it's all about. So we're basically creating rooms like this inside of these old cases where the clock has already been removed. It's already been taken out, so there's nothing in there. It's just an empty box, basically. And so that's what I do, and that's what we've been doing in these lives. Lori, did you put up the survey? So I'm wondering if I can get that too, because I can't see the comments. Let me see if I can get that too. I don't have any control over that. New in a crew. All right. I can't see the comments. There we go. Oh, it was, Lori, I'm sorry, because I don't understand this. Whoever put that up there. Will that thing go away without me messing up my live? I just can't see your comments now because it's behind the survey window. And I can't see anything. So if you're telling me anything, I can't see it. Oopsie. And you guys are probably laughing your behinds off right now. I'm afraid I'm going to screw this up. That's going to kill the window. All right, let's do that. There we go. I got it. Okay. Oh my gosh. Lori, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I appreciate you doing that. I just could not see the lives, and I just realized I need to tap the screen. The problem I have with this, with dealing with my phone, I love my laptop better for these lives. With my phone, there's so many little things. If I touch one thing wrong, the live's, going to go away. So I have to be careful. Yeah. Yes. So anyway, Debbie, you see it? I didn't see your comments, Debbie. I'm guessing you see what we did. So this is it. So if you're interested in following this, we are working on another one, which is, this is the top half of it. We've already started putting the gold on it and the little topper. And so this is the inside that we'll be building a room inside. So this is another project we started. So we're working on it. Thank you, Debbie. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you saw it. Oh, Debbie started following me. Thank you. This is where I need to get this out and do this. Look. Debbie started following me. I appreciate it. Yeah, so please follow along. And again, I do lives. Typically what happens on Tuesday nights, where it's Tuesday at the desk. So basically I'm going to be in the library. And you'll see, if you join my live on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, I'm actually in a space that has what looks like books behind me. Like this looks like brick. This isn't brick. But the other one looks like books. So I'm basically sitting at a desk where I really interact with you more in comments instead of me doing something and just talking. Thursday nights are going to be more about working here at the craft table, working on this project. And I'll do pop-up lives occasionally to, like we're doing tonight, which is my rebellion against the Super Bowl. We do pop-ups like this so that we can work at the craft table and do this project. So you're welcome to join either one of those, but yeah, it's kind of how I'm keeping it these days. User 552, this, I don't know how many I'll make. Yeah, it looks like a library, Catherine. You know that. It looks like one. All those fake books behind me, but I love that backdrop. I wish that's how my office really looked, but it doesn't. It's stacks of paper and all kinds of crazy stuff. The survey was about the number of people who are crew and how many people are new. because a lot of you guys, I'm calling you crew, and I think you guys are okay with it because no one has said they're not okay with it. It's just how I see you, and so I'm always like, hello, crew, instead of followers, because you're crew. I mean, you guys are super supportive. You have no idea how much this means to me and what a transformative experience this is being for me, creating this stuff and sharing these things I do, but I'm interacting with these people, you people, the crew people, and people can join the crew. But these names, you're like friends of mine now. It's amazing. So you're in my head. Yes, little B, I'm glad you are. No one has complained. And I accidentally said it, I think, in one video. And I was like, you know what? They are the crew. And that's why I said it. It just slipped out of my mouth. I'm like, yeah, it works. So now whenever I say crew, you know I'm talking to Chipperdoodle, little B, Yvonne, Melissa in South Carolina. Let me think. Jim the Doughboy, Henry, Okie, Ange, I always forget. Sorry, Ange. Ange, I was going to get it drilled in my brain. Jody. Jody is it. Yes, now Debbie. Let's not forget Debbie, she's new. Christine Gibbs. I just think this is awesome. I really do. And I'm glad you guys are here. No one's watching it. You, Melissa in South Carolina, I already said you Fanes. Fanes. Let's not forget Fanes. Retired Smart Aleck. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Diane. And you guys, come on. I could sit here and keep doing it, but I have, my brain is almost 60 years old. So, you're all there. Excuse me. Yes, I'm glad. I'm really glad. Yeah, I've got Jody with a Y and Jody IE. Susie Cool. That's right. Absolutely Jody with an IE. For sure. Jody IE Snowflake. Yes, not that I'm saying you're a snowflake. You just have a snowflake there. Pat. Yes, I'm a youngin', right, Pat? Marcia. Yes, Marcia. Marcia Starr. And some of you guys have Jack, exactly. There's Linda. She's not on here. Linda's watching the football game. She already emailed me and said she wouldn't be here. Catherine. Quebec. Yeah, it's just awesome. Joan. Exactly. You're included. All right, guess what I'm going to do? Jay and May, how dare me? How dare me forget? Yes. And I'm forgetting some of the guys, too. I think I've left out some guys. Alan Daly, you're not here. I don't think you're on tonight. Yes, so hang on. I'm going to put this to the side. Let me see if these things are dry yet. All right, I'm going to get out Vidal Sassoon one more time. I'm multitasking, watching the game, and making bread pudding. Retired Smarlick, I wish you were my neighbor. I'm so glad, Yvonne. And Yvonne, I think I can probably openly say that you are like a borderline coach. You probably know that because you have sent me a lot of really, really good information about how to do this thing that I'm doing. So I appreciate it. Yeah, evidently I can hear that. Bread pudding is awesome. Yep, Tim the Doughboy. Of course, Tim the Doughboy would like bread pudding. See what I did there? So Rob's an educator. Yvonne, seriously, you know that. I mean, you know that I don't respond with lots of information. You send me lots of good stuff and I respond back, but everything you say is kept. It's archived. I have it, and I think about it. I appreciate it. These thumbs do not like to respond on my phone and email because it takes forever for me to do it. I'm just not that fast. You love baking too, Doughboy. That's awesome. I'm painting flowers and listening to breaking. Oh, how nice. That just sounds so awesome. We need to discuss wallpaper and the ceiling situation for the upcoming. You mean for the one where the clock case that we're working on now? There's plenty of time for that. We're coming up on that. It's getting closer. And I did see your note, Henry. Your vote is for silver. I hear you. And absolutely am considering it, for sure. You stress bake. Yeah, I stress baked and stress ate during COVID, and 20-something pounds came on me. And I've gotten that 20 pounds off of me, and I do not want it back. That was not fun. That was no fun at all. These pants I'm wearing are old. These would not, there was no way I could get these on. I could get them to button. I could get these buttoned, and I would have to bend down really hard and make them stretch so I could even be in them. I'm sure I look like a bag of dough. I'm sure that's what it looked like. So the fact that I'm in these pants and they just button so nicely and so easily, I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you, sweet treadmill. And I can't have baked goods. I get addicted to those things. I love them. Yeah, the days that, during COVID, we just let loose. No one knew what was going to happen. It's like, I'm making guacamole and I'm going to eat it with chocolate chip cookies. That's just how it's going to be. I'm kidding. I never did that. All right, I'm going to turn on the hairdryer real quick. Little B, that's very kind. So here's the deal with me getting the weight off. It's because it's about how I feel. I'm just not comfortable, when I'm heavier. It just doesn't feel good. And I don't want to buy bigger pants, That's something my grandpa told me years ago, my dad's dad. He said, don't ever buy bigger clothes. If you can't wear the clothes, lose the weight. But don't buy the bigger size, because once you do it, you're going to do it again. And don't buy anything with elastic. However, I do wear occasionally, like I think in my last live, I was wearing a pair of like sweat pant type things, which are super comfortable. Tonight I had these on, so because I got paint on the other pants. So anyway, let me try these real quick. The buffet pants. I got it, Henry. I'm like the Buffett pants. I'm thinking Jimmy Buffett. And I'm like, oh, buffet pants. Absolutely. Yes. You don't want to wear buffet pants, for sure. You definitely do not. I would think so. I do agree. I would tell you that having gotten the weight off, I'm very happy about that because I gained a lot of weight in my face. So it's really great to not have that. You've gained a bit of weight, Christine. Yeah. But the thing is that it does come off. One of my daughters who just finished nursing school was talking about weight she gained during nursing school. And I'm like, we gain and lose quickly. And it's just a matter of clean eating, I think, because we just extra calories. It has to go somewhere. Your body's like, I'm going to keep this. And it puts it in your genes. That's where it goes. It's where it goes in mine, Cookies look really good on the plate, but they never look good in a pair of jeans. Never do. I haven't seen any cookie that look good in my jeans. Yes, that works. There's a lot of things that work for people for sure. Yeah. Salads are good, but make sure that you're cranking up the protein. You really have to do that so you don't get hungry. The protein is important. Yes, everyone does. Yeah, when my daughter started nursing school, I warned her because that's one of the things I've done a lot of things in my life. I've had a lot of different experiences, and at one point I wanted to be a registered nurse myself, and so I went back to school and I finished all the science prereqs. I did all of my biology prereqs. I was top of the group that applied. I got into nursing school. I went to orientation, and that's when the lighting started. I had made a piece of lighting, and it was in a store in Atlanta, and it sold really quickly. The person who had it said, would you like to do some more? And I certainly would rather be creative and an artist rather than doing what I was going to be doing as a nurse. So even though I had done all the work, I decided to start an LLC, which is what I did, and that's how Bencliffe was born. So I never was a nurse, but I learned a lot about, you're an RN, yes, I learned a lot in my prereqs that I took, my A&P and all that stuff, that how this stuff works. You learn a lot about how the body works is what I'm saying. I didn't learn any nursing skills because I didn't go to nursing school. I just got in, that's all. But I'm pretty proud of that. It was a big deal. Hey, Indonesia, thank you. Welcome. Communications. I wanted to be an what I wanted to do in my first round when I was younger is I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be on there was a TV news magazine called PM Magazine back then, where typically it was a male and a female who hosted it, and it was human interest stories. I loved human interest stories, and I wanted to do that. And so that's what I studied to do. So I learned to sit behind a desk and, read from a teleprompter and do the weather and that kind of stuff. I was trained for that, and took voice diction, learned to speak standard American dialect, got rid of my southern accent. That's something I thought about for a live, is reading the children's book that I had to read in voice diction, which was the Little Fir Tree by Hans Christian Andersen. That's what I had to read phonetically to rid myself of saying things that weren't standard American. If you're not familiar, standard American dialect is what most news people speak. It's so you're not speaking like you're from Minnesota, or you're from South Louisiana, or you're from, in my case, South Carolina. You got rid of it. So that's what I did. You did University of Tennessee. You took the advertising way. Yeah. So when I was a senior, this is BYU in Utah. When I was a senior, I went to a symposium. And I was sitting in the symposium, and this, so whoever he was, I don't know who he was, I don't remember. But what he said was this. He said, those of you sitting out there who want to be on-air news personalities, you want to be TV personalities, which that was one of them. He said, you'll be driving, I've told you this before, he said, you'll be driving he said some car that was you'll be driving a Yugo, or, I don't know, some tiny, inexpensive car. That's what you'll be driving for a long time, because you're just not going to make a lot of money coming out of it. And you're going to have to live in the middle of nowhere, South Dakota, or you're going to have to live somewhere you're going to live in somewhere in Wyoming at some small market station until you get a name, and you may never get one. So if you want to do that, that's fine. And if you got a passion for it, I understand. He said, but if you want to drive a BMW, fairly soon after college, get into media sales. And that stuck with me, and I took a media sales course. And when I got out of school, my first job was I worked for Hewlett Packard. For a Hewlett Packard reseller, I actually did when PCs had 286 K of RAM, and your hard drive was only 40 megabytes. Yeah, I sold those computers, and they were a big deal. Believe me, in 1980, whatever it was a huge deal to sell those computers. Did really well. The laser printer was first introduced when dot matrix went away and all that. Nobody knows what I'm saying, but I did that for a year. But in the process of doing that, I started handling their advertising for the small office in Portland, Oregon. And I did a radio and outdoor billboard campaign for them that worked really well, because people back then, people drove around in their car, they were listening to the radio stations that were local. So we ran a radio ad on the number one radio station in Portland, and I did a series of outdoor billboards on major thoroughfares in the city. And the combination just worked. Our sales were crazy, the phone was ringing like crazy. It just was a really good little program. But I became really good friends with the representative from the outdoor or billboard company, or outdoor advertising, and they wanted me to come work for them. And so at some point I interviewed, did my thing, how much I loved outdoor, which I really did. As a kid, I loved billboards. I thought they were fun. And I got the job. And it was really cool because, it was the first time I got a company car and all that kind of stuff. And I wasn't even 30. And it was like, ooh, this is awesome. So I got into sales, and I went from there to I worked for ADP, Automatic Data Processing, for a while, which is the boot camp of selling. If you know anything about it, that is the gold star, at least it was then, of selling. So I got there for a while. I didn't like that at all, and ended up with an office products supplier that I worked for quite a while and did really well. So sales really was my thing, but I've never done any. I've never been really on air. I've been on air on radio, but I've never been on air TV. I've never been in a situation where, 3, 2, 1 on. I've just done it in closed circuit or just college stuff, other than some, video stuff I've made. Blah, blah, blah. ADP is still the gold standard. I'm not surprised. Yeah, getting in there, I remember interviewing with them, and the sales executive, I'm going to tell you two stories. The sales executive told me during the interview, he said, I want you to, and it was like from a movie. This guy was high-powered, older man, sitting behind a desk, this super fancy office. I'm sitting there, I'm what, 28, 29, shaking in my boots, and he says, I want you to imagine in your mind that there's a giant bowl. Imagine like a mixing bowl, a salad bowl. And I'm oiling the sides up really well. So those sides are really oiled up. And I'm dropping you and every other candidate. I've got candidates from this bank and this bank who are interviewing, and this person's an accountant, and I'm putting you in there in that bowl with them, and it's your job to climb up to the edge of that bowl and be seen and let me know that you're the one that should have this position we have open. I got the job, but it was hard. And I remember, this is another part of the story. I had been there for, I don't know, I'd probably been there like a week or two, and he called me in his office, and I was wearing like a sport coat. It was navy blue. I had a white shirt on, really great pants, and this awesome tie I had. And it was just, I thought I've always felt good in that. At least I did then. Until after this conversation. And we sat down. He said, have a seat. So closes the door. We sit down. He has chit chat with me about stuff. And he said, I really like that tie you're wearing. That's great. Where'd you get it? That's a great looking outfit. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Yeah, I really like it. Never wear that in this office again. That's what he said. He was dead serious. He said, we don't wear that here. And I want you to go somewhere and buy yourself a suit or some suits or whatever the heck. I had suits, but he said, never wear that again. He told me everything was wrong with what I had on. The shoes that I think I had mistakenly worn slip-on shoes. They were shoes that did not have laces. This person went directly to Nordstrom, got with one of those consultants, ended up with cotton pinpoint shirts. They were all the nicest shirts they had. I had suits. I think Allen Edmonds was their house brand of wingtips. I had it all. I spent a load of money at that store. And I never, in all of my selling career, ever put on a sport jacket again, a sport coat. Never did. Never wore khakis anywhere except to an after hours event. It was a lesson learned, but it made a big difference because later on, as things went on, it was much better. Yes, it was not cheap, but it was definitely worth it. But it was every time I see a movie where they have a scene like that, my stress level goes up because I remember sitting there with him and him saying that to me because it's embarrassing. I was at work. I had to go back out of that office and knowing that other people probably already knew he was having that talk with me. So that was definitely boot camp for me on all kinds of levels. Yes. Image was everything, and image is everything for a lot of brands as well. Brands, you are carrying the image of the brand. Being an outbound sales rep, you're the ambassador for the brand, and you can show up looking like that, and they were a gold standard. They absolutely were. And I found that out later when I started interviewing for my next job, that just having that on my resume, I always got interviewed. I always got in. So, I told you guys I was going to bring that picture of me from like 1997. It was that person I told you that had drank his own Kool-Aid and was drunk on himself. And I saw him in a picture, and I showed it to Steve recently. I said, look at this guy. I said, this person right here was obnoxious. I should, I'm going to have to try to remember to bring that. Maybe I'll bring it to the desk live because you got to see it. When I saw it, I'm like, oh my God. This person wore black leather driving gloves. That's what I became. I'm not that anymore. Now I paint little feet and put them onto clock cabinets and talk on TikTok. I'm in training and development for a healthcare provider. Okay. Okay. So you do training. Yeah, I love doing trainings too. That's such fun, yeah. 50,000 hearts, holy moly, look at that. Yes. Yes, I told you guys before, I'm living more from here and less from up here. That thing, when my marriage fell apart at age 36 or 7 or whatever it was, I was so high in the stratosphere on everything Roger that plane took 4 years to crash. But let me tell you, I was screaming all the way down. All the way down. And there were times when I thought, it's hit. It hadn't hit yet. I don't think... That started in 2001, and the sun did not return to my life until 2005. Whenever I think of the spring of 2005, it's like sunshine, roses, and flowers, because everything between that 4 years before was darkness. It was such a difficult time. And luckily, I met someone, and as I told you, recently took this personality test, Enneagram, and I'm an individualist as a number 4, if you're familiar with that. And one of the things it says in there about my personality type is that I typically, people my personality type will be a partner with someone that's more of, and they said rescuer, it was in quotes, a rescuer, someone who listens to them, because I process out loud. I process through things out loud. That's exactly who Steve is. That's exactly what he has been. He was a person who allowed me to continue to, I looked like I had all my stuff together. I looked like all my excrement was in small piles, but it actually was everywhere. And I said this in my last live. He allowed that. He did not expect me to continue to act like everything is fine. I was allowed to let the rest of it fall. And that's what I had to do. I had to let it hit the ground. I had to let it all fall down. And by the time that I got done with my process, I was getting up off the ground, literally. I was, in some cases, literally getting off the ground. And in my mind, putting myself back together and standing back up as a new person. It was a transformative experience. But all of that I was, all that I did, if you imagine, as we've talked about, why I got married to, I said her name, why I got married to her in the beginning, and why I did all that was really under a false pretense, I guess you could say. It wasn't genuine. And so I built everything that same way. The whole entire thing was built that way. And so since 2001, it's been about building it from a more solid foundation, from something that's real. And that is where I'm coming from. That's, I think, what you guys are picking up through TikTok. I mean, you guys are sending me notes. You're sending me emails. You're describing some things to me. This has happened with my art over the years. The time when I was selling on Etsy, those whatever 1,000 pieces I sold, that people wrote me notes about when they got the art and what they described. Those are all coming from what I became after I was destroyed, by what happened, by that, when that was destroyed. So it's really nice to be in this genuine place. I still have the roller coaster, my good days, my bad days. I still do smart things and not so smart things, but I'm at least more genuine with myself and feel more grounded. And I think that's what you guys are picking up too by being a part of the crew, because I'm feeling that from you guys. It's like whatever I'm sending out is attracting to me people that are like-minded, kind people, and that's what this is about, and I appreciate it. Helpful people as well. Yes, I was not living my true life. It all was fake. It absolutely was. It was all just like, I didn't know who I was, and I didn't want to be who I was. I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be what I thought I could be and what I wanted everybody to believe I was. We are definitely all a work in progress. We absolutely are. And I'm saying that here. I give everyone room to be what they need to do and how they need to do it, because we all have to. It's like I said about people who don't understand me and call my life a lifestyle. That's where they are, They aren't exposed to this. They don't know. They did not go down into the valley of shadow of whatever we call it. I can't say that word on TikTok. But I went into a dark place. I had to process this myself. This is my truth. This is how I'm living it. And it's working for me. And I'm okay. And maybe they're okay doing that. And maybe they need to be able to think less of me. Or they need to be able to, call me something that's not nice. That's just where they need to be. That's where they are. It's okay. I'm okay. 50K. We're here. 838. And I don't know who's winning the Super Bowl. All right, so the feet are dry. Boy, oh boy, you guys are hanging in there. So the feet are dry. So I think, let me make sure there's no gold coming off. No, everything's good. Everything's good. It is a reflection on them, but again, I'm not going to say it's a reflection on them that's bad, because that's where they are. And it's not, is it bad? I don't know. That's all relative. It really is. Because there's 50% of the people tell me that where I am is okay or good, and 50% of the people tell me it's not okay and it's bad. So what is it? It's got to be what I think it is, and I'm okay. So they can be okay. Halftime just finished. Woohoo! You mean that, was it Taylor Swift was performing for halftime, so she's done? Yes, you cannot, little B, that's for sure. The naysayers. Oh, it was Usher. Okay. That's why somebody said to me today about Usher, and I said, "Why am I being shown to my seat?" And then they laughed really hard, and now I know why they said Usher, and that was me trying to be funny, and evidently they thought it was super funny. So what is this about? Oh, Taylor Swift's boyfriend. So that's why I was hearing about Taylor Swift. Yeah, and his name is Kelsey something. I saw that because I saw somebody kept calling him Kelsey Grammer, and he's not Kelsey Grammer. I love my convertible. Travis, thank you. Travis Kelsey. Oh boy, I'm showing my age. There we go. You know what? We absolutely do. We absolutely do. So let me share something with you that's personal. Because you know I'm really funny and very guarded, and I don't share anything personal. It's a joke. This is what this is doing for me. What we're experiencing right now as a group. I have not been okay with this. All this. I've not been okay with it. I ride around. I'm a person inside this. I call it a bag. I'm inside here. I'm looking out at the world in it. And people react to all of us certain ways by what they see and what they look at. And I have not been comfortable. Not for a long, long time have I been comfortable in that. Something's happening to me here on TikTok. It's like you guys are telling me that, I kind of alluded to this, I think, in the last live. People are saying, you know, you're handsome and stuff like that. That's all flattering, but it's not going to my head. What it's doing to me is helping me get better about myself, you know, and I'm not saying this because I need to be supported in that way. I'm just telling you that I'm having, it's really transforming me. I'm really feeling more solid about some things. I'm feeling less self-conscious. I'm one of those people who, if someone, I get in my head. I really do. And it's really helping me. This is really helping me be present. Doing this live, when I first started doing lives a few months ago, I was afraid of it. I just was terrified of getting on here. And I'm less and less terrified about it. I'm getting more comfortable being myself and more comfortable looking at my own face, not being judgmental, not saying you're fat, you're not this, you're not that. I do all that stuff. It's been really, it's been hard, and this is helping me. You guys are helping me, and you're just helping me by being yourselves. By the way, I'm not saying that to you for asking for you to, inundate me with compliments or anything. I don't need that. I guess what I'm telling you is it's affecting me and making me feel more at ease with myself and not going around going, these pants are too tight, or, I'm fat, and, there's something wrong with me. And I keep saying that. And I know I talked about losing weight because I am at the weight I want to be. I just want you to know that. I'm not saying that I think that now. I just, I weigh 185. That's where I need to be. That's where I want to be. And I'm okay. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I'm Chipper. The feeling's mutual. And I feel it. Trust me. It's been very healing. It's been surprisingly healing for me. It's been surprisingly healing. And there's a lot of guilt, that I carry. I carry because, I wasn't honest early in my life. I wasn't, I couldn't be. In 7th grade, I started building a closet to get into. And I wasn't genuine. And I kind of blamed the outside world for that, and that's my responsibility, It took a lot of courage to get to this point and be okay living out here, in this world where I'm being who I am, but anyway, how I do go on. I hope that makes sense. It is, and that's how I feel about it, Chipper. It absolutely is. I'm missing some stuff. I think I wasn't looking at comments, so you guys must be chatting among yourselves. Doggy Bags. Doggy Bags, are you new here? Yeah, I have not seen your name. Trust me, I would remember Doggy Bags for sure. Welcome to this live. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Welcome to, I'm Artful Roger. you're seeing these comments here. This is the Artful Roger crew that you see. These names that are popping up here in the comments. These people have been following me for a while. And we are upcycling a clock case tonight. I'm putting the feet onto it right now with this screwdriver. I'm turning them in. Thank you for subscribing. Here we go, look. There's the feet. So those look pretty good, don't you think? So we're upcycling a clock case into a little scene. It's going to be a Great Gatsby, kind of a New Year's Eve scene is what we're doing, 1920s. We'll say it's New Year's Eve 1924 into 1925. That's what we'll do. I'm putting this together now so we can kind of see what it looks like. There we go. So send up some hearts. Send up some hearts, guys, if you're liking this thing, how it's looking so far. I have not found the doll figure yet, Garrett. Let me rephrase. The doll figure has not found me. Thanks for the roses, guys. Jack, thank you. Yes, good. You guys are liking it. I think it's coming together nicely. And so you saw the feet earlier, you know, what they look like, and here they are on there. So there's still, you see the engraving on the front, those little star-looking things. It's just too filled in with paint. I went over this part right here today. Earlier today, I went over this with a paint pen. I could not do it. It was so crooked, I had to paint black back over it, so it did not work at all. So you like the topper, Chipper? Yeah. And you were, Chipper, you've been here all along, so you saw me build it. There we go. So yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, good. So we're making some good progress. So I noticed too, the other day I was looking at this. You see the screws? So when this thing is done, this is going to be where we're going to be viewing it, and it's going to have this on it. This got a little bit of water on it the other day. Let's see if I can get that off of there. Anyway, this is the bezel and the glass, which goes here. But you can kind of see those holes in there. See that? That we've got to deal with. So I've got to figure out how. I would typically paint that inside gold, which would work, but I don't want to do it and have those holes visible when we look in the portal. So I've got to deal with that somehow. So that's what we're going to be doing. Yeah, little plugs could go in there. I was thinking about taking some paper, like a wallpaper or something like that, or even something like this. You know, I've got scrapbook paper like this that I could cut and glue like wallpaper around, you know. Susie, thank you for that. My looks are my genetics, thanks to my parents, to my very handsome father and my very beautiful mother. So they handed some of that down to me. But the kindness and the niceness, you got to work on that. You know, it doesn't come naturally for everybody. And, you know, you guys are kind, you guys are loving, and it's really helpful. And it definitely comes through. Somehow we're sharing this together. And so it's a very healing and wonderful experience. So thank you for those words. I endeavor to be kind. I'm probably not always kind, but I endeavor to be kind. So anyway, you see what I'm doing here? See how that paper could go around so I could use that, and this is super sparkly. So I've thought about that. I have not worked this out yet. Kay and May, thank you for reminding me. Yes, YouTube. I have a channel on YouTube where I archive these lives. So if you want to go back and watch them, you can do that. It's Artful Roger. It's Roger with a D. People are having some trouble looking for me, putting in R-O-G-E-R, but it's R-O-D-G-E-R, and I am on YouTube, so they're there. And this one, as soon as I conclude this live, in about 12 minutes, we're going to conclude it at 9 o'clock. I've got a corporate job in the morning, and I have to decompress and then get myself together for that. I'll post this thing onto YouTube tonight, so it'll be on there. And if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, it will alert you. I think it lets you know. I'm pretty sure when you subscribe, it'll let you know when I've posted a new video, so you can keep up with it. Jacket is absolutely scrapbook paper. I have an entire, let me show it to you. This is my little scrapbook paper, you know, where I keep things. I go into places like Michael's and things like that and find paper that I like. This, I thought this was really cool. I used this in the last cloche. This is the wall that I use because it looks like, looks like old plaster work. But yeah, you can find some beautiful papers in there. This one. You've got to remember scale. Like scale is very important. Felt, which I use for stuff. I'm just digging in here real quick. Marble. I'm so glad I dug in this. You know why? I have been looking everywhere for this. Everywhere. This is all my molding. Whew. Thank you. So yeah, even this. I thought this was kind of cool. Look at this sparkly stuff. So yeah, plenty of things that you can use. So I recommend getting yourself some scrapbook paper because that scrapbook paper works really well on a project like one of these. Yeah, I noticed that paper was this. I'm yellowing out. I don't know what. I must have caused a color correction on my phone with that scrapbook paper because look how orange I am. I've turned orange. There we go. That helped a little bit. Anyway, yes. Yes, subscribe to YouTube, guys, for sure. Well, we got a good bit done tonight. I don't know what happened to my lighting. I don't know why. I think the scrapbook paper must have caused my phone to I think I silvered it out and caused it to color correct. And now I look pink. Better. Stop. See what it's doing? This is insane. Okay. We are nearing the end of the live anyhow, so it's okay. It's okay that I'm orange. It's all right. I look like an Oompa Loompa right now. This is all good. We're at 55,100 likes. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Yeah. So is it 55? It is 55,200. Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, I appreciate that. Crew, it's awesome spending time with you. I'm glad you guys could join tonight. I'm about to wrap it up when I start doing this, but I definitely need to get this live downloaded and get it uploaded to YouTube for you. Yeah, you can tap your screen. Where are we at 55,000? Let's see if we can get to 60. Let's see if we can tap it up to 60, and then I'll sign out. And don't stop tapping, because I am going to sign out anyway. You bet, Mary Therese. Thank you for being a moderator. Strawberry Girl, thank you for joining. Little B, you're awesome. Garrett, I'm so glad you joined. I appreciate the messages you guys send to me. Vivi, awesome seeing your beautiful name. Debbie. Pamela, unfortunately, you're right at the end, just joining in. So we're about to wrap it up here in just a minute. But if you follow me and join my lives on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we will you will know what we're doing here. Vivi, awesome seeing you. Thank you. Yvonne, you too. And I will see you in Cyberland for sure. 58,000, we're almost there. Pops up to 60. Tap that screen. Yeah, Tuesday will be the next live, likely. Yes, Tuesday night, and it's going to be Tuesday in the library. And if you follow me, you know what that means. We're at the desk, so we'll be talking, just basically chatting about this, that, and the other for an hour or so. Yes, Tuesday's the day. Yeah, so we're there. We are at 59.4, 59.6. Let's get it up there. We're about to hit it. 60,000. We did it. Guys, thank you. Have a great Sunday night, and I will see you on Tuesday.